Hi, I'm director James Wan. Welcome to Talking Fast. A feature where you get a driver's seat view into some of the key moments from the film. It's up close, very personal, and full throttle. Yeah! So if you're ready, I think we should start at the beginning. Here we go. So I'm new to this franchise, and I knew from the very start that I wanted to make my impact be seen with this really amazing new character that Jason Statham plays. And the chance to work with Jason at this level, because he's new to the franchise as well. So between the two of us, we knew we wanted to make an impact. We wanted to make a statement that we're here and we're proud of this, and we really want to blow people away.
You get it.
One of the things I wanted to do with his opening sequence is to kind of start up pretty mellow, right? Kind of lull the audience into thinking, things are kind of calm and quiet. So I start off with an opening shot, okay, of London.
I used to think that was bollocks.
Right, so the camera pulls back from London to reveal Jason. He turns around and he's talking to someone off camera. We're not quite sure who it is first. Then the camera pans with him, right, and we reveal it is Owen Shaw, the main bad guy from the previous film, from number 6. And so here we establish Jason's relationship with this particular character. It's his brother.
Risk now, little brother.
And he makes a blood vow.
I'll sell you one last score.
He will destroy anyone who hurt his brother. It is as simple as that. That, to me, sets the theme that runs throughout the entire movie.
Take care of my brother.
It is about protecting family.
Didn't hams to him? Come back looking for you.
I wanted this to be something that you remember. I wanted you to look at this opening scene and kind of go, you know what? This is someone new to this franchise, and this is where this franchise now is going to go on a whole different level. I wanted to design a sequence where after Jason says his piece to his brother, the camera's going to pull back with him, and we sit like this. Camera pulls back with him, and to do it all in one shot where we follow Statham from his brother's room out of this hospital. And the reason why one shot without cutting it up is I feel like the camera work there reflects the state of mind that Statham is in. He's so focused. It sets up his motivation for the rest of the movie to destroy Dominic Toretto and the rest of his gang, and that's all he cares about. We step into an elevator, and this elevator was designed, check this out, was designed basically as a set piece that could be rotated into another section of the set, so that way it feels like it's one seamless move where we travel from like the 7th floor, whatever it is, all the way down to the ground floor, and along the way, you discover this massive destruction, okay? And what we wanted to do is to reinforce how badass his character is. And you see now the force and power and how good this guy is and what it took him to come into this military hospital to see his brother and say goodbye to him. I think there's nothing cooler than an introduction like that that shows how awesome, how tough this antagonist is gonna be.
Hold this.
So now check this out. This is really Jason walking by an explosion that's happening behind him. My direction to him is, when you do this, do not blink, because that's gonna make you look so tough if you don't blink with this huge explosion going on behind you. Check this out.
Ready? Let's roll video and action!
And this one shot leads us out of the hospital. We see the entire destruction in this place. And then the camera pans away with him as he drives away, and we got into the sky, and we see it on cut yet at this point, and then we turn upside down, and now we come into sunny California, the desert of California, and then we pan with the cars, and it introduces us to Dom and Letty. And I feel like that was such a cool way to take us from London, where we left off in the last movie, and now we come back home to California.
Come on, Dom. So where are you taking me?
And check this out from the race war scene.
The return to Race Wars in the desert was really awesome because I got to see what kind of a monster this franchise has turned into. From this little movie that we didn't think that anybody would care about 14 years ago. into this global entity that travels around the world and is loved by hundreds of millions of people. And I think that that's so beautiful. And I got to see that when we shot the race war sequence through the extras that were involved and the people that showed up and how excited they were to be in the Fast and Furious film. You know, a lot of the extras were there because they actually love the franchise and it's part of their lives. For me, shooting Race Wars, the sequence, was a reminder of that world and how much it's grown. And I think that in this sequence, when she freaks out from the crowd and has a panic attack of sorts and knocks out the Noelle character from Fast 1. It's the seed being planted at this moment. It's not gonna be a smooth walk into the sunset with these two.
Damn, dog. Girl still got that swing, homie.
You never could take a punch, Hector.
They're gonna go through some tough patches.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Hector.
One of the great things for me stepping into this franchise was being able to revisit pivotal scenes and locations from the previous films and tie it all together in a brand new way.
And let's roll sound.
Establishing Letty's mindset early on about her relationship with Dom was key. There is a lot of history between these two characters. So for the cemetery scene, it was great watching how they brought all of that history with them into their performance. Let's check it out.
I think the craziest part for Letty is losing her memory. This scene in the cemetery is Letty basically looking at the Dom character and saying that she's a ghost of a person. And the sentiment behind it is, you know, what's a human without memories?
That's the date I lost my memory. That's the date that Letty died, and I was born.
What are we really if we don't have this collection of experiences together to share? And knowing this entire team or family of friends risk their lives to save hers, and she understands that there's a loyalty there. She understands that this is her family and loves them. But, you know, it's really, really rough for somebody to live a life where you have no memories of any of the wonderful times that you shared together. She may remember how to drive cars and fight, and she recalls these motor skills that, you know, are intuitive. But at the end of the day, the most frustrating aspect is looking in somebody's eyes and not having this flood of beautiful memories with this person that you love truly. It's frustrating, especially when they talk about moments of the past.
The Toretto House is such an iconic location for this franchise. I love that we were able to bring it back for this film, but I almost feel guilty for blowing it up. Hey, what can I say? I know it meant a lot to the actors who have called it home over all these years, especially Jordana Brewster.
The Toretto House is definitely a piece of Fast and Furious history, and every time we get to revisit it, it's always the garage and the house and the backyard where all the barbecues are. That's all one location, which is pretty special. In some ways, it hasn't changed at all because the house is there, it's intact. The little market where I sold Brian his tuna fish sandwich, that's still there. Different memories come flooding back. Like I was like, oh, that's where Letty came down the stairs, and that's where I shot the scene with Brian, where I was washing the dishes and he came to hit on me, and it's just a really fun little piece of history. It was very bittersweet this time around because I knew it might be the last time we were shooting there. Vin and I just sat and talked for a while and sort of reminisced because we were there after 15 years. We were back shooting there and kind of come full circle. So it's kind of amazing. Sometimes the locations in Fast and Furious aren't exactly what they seem. It was pretty awesome in Furious 7 because we shot some scenes in LA that were supposed to be shot in Dominican Republic. And this was this like beautiful palatial estate in Malibu. And it was the hideout where Mia goes with Jack. Kind of amazing how well it doubled for DR. It was movie magic at its best. And the other thing that worked out kind of last minute was Romeo Santos playing Mondo. And I remember he flew in that day. He had a massive concert the night before. He had another concert that night for like thousands and thousands of people. And yet he was nervous about, like, you know, acting with me on set and getting his lines right and hitting his mark and working with James Wan. And I thought that was so cool because to me it would be so much, you know, more frightening to be in front of a giant audience and to be a huge superstar. But we helped each other through it, and he did an awesome job.
Han said you was fast, but not that damn fast.
The necklace is something that evolved from Fast and Furious 4. And Vin, relentless as he is in wanting to keep me alive in the franchise, he used the necklace in 5 to kind of like start the storyline of bringing Letty back. And so the necklace has been playing ping pong back and forth from Fast and Furious 4 to Fast and Furious 5, where Letty wasn't even a character in the film until the tag ending. Did you know I didn't even know that was a tag ending in 5 until I went to the theater in Paris and I saw the movie? And I'm like, I'm in it. Thanks for the phone call, Vin. He's like, I told you so. Fast 6, you know, there was the return of the necklace. It created a sentimental value. So much so that like now it's like part of the franchise. It's like that necklace represents love, the unbreakable bond between two street lovers.
So here I have these two huge action stars. And the next sequence I want to talk about is the sequence where the antagonist and the protagonist, Vin's character and Statham's character, comes to a head, literally.
Action, Vin!
When they first meet each other, they're facing off in this underground tunnel. I thought this was a very important sequence for us to introduce Statham's character and Vin's character and how they first meet. The first time they meet has to be explosive. And the way we did that is like this. So they're facing off like a classic Western showdown. But instead of standing there with the horse or their gun, the car is their gun and their horse. Neither one is willing to back down, and you just know where this scene's about to lead to. They're gonna rev their engines and they're gonna go for it. And these guys are so badass and so tough that they're gonna drive towards each other and smash, and that is the way we were gonna introduce the two of them. So this game of chicken took place in Los Angeles, but was actually shot in Atlanta. And check this out. So one of the things that I wanted to do was to make it explosive as I could when they first collide with each other, and we did a lot of pyrotechnics in this sequence. We had two vehicles basically tied on tracks along the floor that the cars would just ride along, looking like this. And what we do then is we have like series of basically cables that pull the car towards each other to get the head-on collision. And we would have dummies in the vehicles that later, in visual effects, we would tweak to make additional sort of glass exploding everywhere, but the actual collision was really done practical on location. So, smash first, then speak later. And that's exactly what this sequence is right now. They get out of their vehicles, and then they start their dialogue.
Never should have messed with a man's family.
You're right. In fact, I told your brother the same thing.
There's nothing cooler than the two of them coming head to head, and just when you think this is about to come in an end, but we know better than that because this is only the start of the film, the confrontation there is cut short by this group of military guys that comes from out of nowhere, rappel down, like these guys here.
On the ground!
And it is within this sequence that we finally introduce Kurt Russell, a living legend.
Mr. Toretto,
Who the hell are you?
I'm Mr. Nobody.
What we find out in this sequence is he is a military character from the sort of shadowy CIA underworld. We don't quite know what he is or what he does or who he works for.
By the way, I can get you Deckard Shaw.
We know he's here to try and enlist Dom and his team on the mission that he needs him to partake in.
But this right here, my friend, happens to be the stupidest idea I've ever heard of in my life.
The scene in Petty's workshop was fun because it gave Roman a moment to try to assert himself as an alpha dog. And he was so excited because he got to work with Kurt Russell. Check this out.
The scene where I'm around the table and I'm telling Dom that I wanted to take the lead and take over. It was great. I loved it.
I'm not a follower. This time, I lead. Seriously, if I don't start making decisions, I'm out.
I'm tired of listening to him. He thinks that because his voice is deeper than mine, that he just gets to boss everybody around.
All right, Roman. What do you got?
You know, that was one of my favorite scenes because that was also the first scene I ever did with Kurt Russell.
You know, reading your file, I was impressed with what you've accomplished with your team, but meeting them now, I gotta say, Dom, you've truly got a gift. Keep working at it.
I don't really know if I could ever have as much dialogue as Kurt Russell had in this movie and just like be able to memorize it like that. Like that was crazy. And he was charming. You know, he's got his little dimples in his face. So he's, you know, all that dialogue, man. We love you, Kurt. Thank you for joining us. And in the Fast family, hope you come back.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Game time.
Rolling.
Action!
We really shot the scene flying out the back of the airplane in Atlanta. What I loved about the scene is that we all were actually in the back of a plane.
Action!
Even though we were indoors and we never were physically on an airplane, it all looks like we were. And I told them that I didn't mind being scared because I like Roman Pierce to be the voice of reality.
And I'll give you whatever it does for along the way.
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
Just make it fun.
No problem. They put us inside of this rig. It was really tall, and it's like it was almost like a Magic Mountain ride, you know? It was like really, it shakes you up crazy and really makes you feel like you're in danger. And I could not finish my peanut butter and jelly with milk because that damn gimbal messed me up.
A lot of the stuff that we would like that would make the movie more thrilling or make this sequence more exciting requires visual effects shots to help me gel moments together. And so I could not have pulled this sequence off if it weren't for the visual effects team. They were incredible with what they did. They stepped up to the plate and they showed us seamless effects work that helped me to achieve my vision to take it to that next level that I needed it to be at. One of the great joys on this film was being able to shoot in Abu Dhabi. The scenery was spectacular and the people made us feel so welcome. And I know that feeling I had was shared by the rest of the cast and crew as well.
Man, filming in Abu Dhabi was amazing. This is a place where you see supercars like you see regular cars here in the United States of America. It was like a dream come true. I mean, this is a place where you just have so many individuals and it's just so inspiring to see not only the architecture there, but just the amount of resources and just the amount of money and people spending money in this place. And there was no better place to take this franchise and this movie than to go to Abu Dhabi.
We're in Abu Dhabi. It's a whole
Man, I love the people, I love the food, I love the integrity, I love everything, the culture, and of course, I love the money.
Action!
One of the funnest things was the party scene. I really had fun with that.
All right, this is our first take, people.
I like the improv scene in the penthouse suite. That was a lot of fun. Just the freedom to explore and find funny in the room.
We're so happy for you to be here. You look like you got some missiles underneath that dress. No?
Here's the truth, man. That scene right there.
Oh, there he is. These your dancers? This is a party, baby.
In front of all them people, the hairspray.
Some of y'all probably went to the bathroom and noticed that all the hairspray was missing.
That was all improv, off the top of the head.
Yep. She did it. Thank you.
I hate your hat. You in the back? Yeah.
I just had to find some funny stuff.
You about to really, you about to do it, huh? I'm running out of words. Somebody better say cut. God damn, it's crazy. It's still going. Yeah, so we gonna keep it going.
I'm very grateful to the director, James Wan, who just let me freestyle and just have a moment, because we were trying to find something funny.
I just got out of jail 2 hours ago. They bring me here with naked gold people.
They had to chop some of that stuff out because it got real.
I met you with your boyfriend earlier. His breath is some of the worst breath I've ever smelled in my life. Yeah, I called him out your mouth. I need him to stay away from all H words. Believe me. Hi, how are you? How's everything going? Yeah, he was killing me.
He did not just, did you just say that? So that's what happened in Abu Dhabi in that scene. It was all off the top of the head, and we had a good damn time.
Hey, my man, what's going on?
So here we are at the cement factory. This sequence is a big turning point in the film. This is the low point, I should say, in the movie, where the characters, they think they already have the upper hand because they now have the God's Eyes device, where they've used to hunt down and track down Shaw. And with Kurt Russell and the team, with Paul and Vin, they've gone on this journey. They've gone through the whole movie, basically, to come to this point.
And action!
They've hunted down the bad guy, and now they're about to, you know, take him out, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it is within this moment that we find out that our villain, our antagonist, is actually a really smart guy. He's always one step ahead of everyone. And what he has done is he's reached out to the people that our heroes ticked off a little bit during the Azerbaijan mountain assault sequence. And he says in the movie, this classic line,
You ever heard the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
I don't have friends. I got family.
Well, I got a lot of friends.
And what you realize here is he's recruited Jaimon Hansu's character to come and help him fight this battle during the sequence. And so this scene ends up being this crazy cacophony of gunfights where the lights have been blown off and it's all shot in darkness and red lights. And when Jaimon's character, Jakande, shows up with Tony Jaa and the rest of his team, they basically proceed to wipe out all our heroes' soldiers. And this sequence that went from being a triumphant moment for our heroes become a very dark moment where now they're fighting for their lives and they have to get the heck out of there. And it was a really cool sequence for me to shoot because it allowed me to have fun with the gunfights and it allowed me to showcase some of the crazy stuff that Tony Jaa can do. You know, he's jumping and rolling and then onto the catwalk. And then also within this sequence, finally Kurt Russell gets to have a little moment of fun. We get to showcase this great action star that he has been, you know, the movies that we all grew up with. And so he put on these infrared goggles that he can see, you know, in the dark, and he carries these two guns that he wanted to play with where he can just pick off the bad guys one after one, almost like a classic Western hero that he played in Escape from New York. And so that was really fun to direct Kurt Russell in an action sequence.
Cut!
I really need to step up my game in the action scenes, and the chance to play with all the toys was incredible. And check this out.
So nowadays, drones are becoming really popular, but this particular movie, we take the drone experience to a whole nother level. This drone is shooting at us, you know, we're trying to get away from it, and, you know, we're kind of at a disadvantage when you have a drone flying in the sky and it's a remote control, and it's extremely intense scene.
They've cut the connection. I can't finish the hack.
You have Tyrese driving, which he's the worst driver in the world. He's talking too much and not focusing on keeping us alive.
First a tank, then the plane. Now we got a spaceship?
I think you guys will be able to relate to my character.
Shut your ass up and drive the car.
And here we are, the final showdown between Statham's character and Vin's character. One of the things I knew coming into this movie was how much expectation there was from the fans, from the audience, about wanting to see a movie where Jason Statham and Vin Diesel go head to head. Right? They fight each other in a big, big way. And I knew I cannot let them down here. I remembered meeting with Vin very early on and pitching him this sequence. I said, Vin, what if like the final fight sequence between your character and Deckard Shaw's character is something like the classic Filipino martial arts where they fight each other with sticks? And I remember Vin said to me, he goes, oh my God, James, that is incredible. But what if we do it more in the Fast and Furious way? Instead of using sticks, what if Dominic Toretto reaches into his car like this and pulls up wrenches, big giant wrenches, and Shaw picks up pipes and whatever debris he could from his smashed car, and they start going at each other that way. I didn't want to kind of film the fight scene in the typical traditional way. One of the things that I wanted to do was to basically have the camera work be part of the action scene as well. I like to mount my camera onto whatever crazy action that's going on at that point. I wanted to bring the audience close in and just do something fun that we haven't quite seen before. See how far I can push it when Vin punches Statham's character and he flies through the air, lands on the ground, and rolls. I wanted the camera to roll with him as well. So I tried to do lots of these little camera tricks to try and put my own personal stamp, my personal filmmaking into this particular film. I feel like we're doing a lot of really exciting things, really groundbreaking things too. For all the action fans up there, they're gonna see action that they're not familiar with or haven't quite seen in this particular series.
The stunt guys really are the ones that have all the fun. In that tunnel sequence specifically, there was a lot of action, there was a lot of explosions, and it felt very realistic.
Roll, please, rolling!
I did the post-drive-up sequence, and that alone, with all the effects, is really, really overwhelming. Because you get to feel the flame from the explosions, and you get to feel the explosions. When I got into this business, I thought that when you make these action movies, you get to do all this really cool stuff. But those guys in stunts, man, I really gotta say, out of the whole crew, the Splinter unit has the most fun. Those guys get to destroy all the cars, they get to blow up an ambulance, watch it drop from off a bridge, be chased. They get to get hit with these little studs that explode inside the car. It's just so realistic, man. I mean, you're getting shot at and all these effects, the special effects team is amazing. Every beautiful scene full of action, those are the guys who get to enjoy all of it. We get to ride up, and you know what I mean? It's like, oh, they have so much fun.
What people love about these films are the characters. Check this out.
The wedding sequence was a really cool kicker. We shot it in a church at a cemetery. This is what happens when you shoot with a horror film director, James Wan. We loved that scene. We thought it was very, very special. We were trying to cram our heads and try to think about what were the most impactful moments that Dom and Letty could have had. And it just seemed so beautiful. The idea that they snuck off together and married each other behind everybody's back. I think it's so typical of their personalities, you know, as characters. They have this relationship where it's like, I love you, but don't send me, you know, a Valentine's Day card or give me flowers, because that would just be cheesy. They like to show their love in a very crude fashion. You've got these two individuals who just are incomplete without each other. And that's so rare. Even to have two individuals that are willing to give their lives for each other. It's just such a beautiful thing. And we've got 14 years of history together. So for us, both as actors and embodying these characters that we love so much for so many years, you will never be alone again. It was really, really special to see them get married.
And here we are. We've arrived at the final scene of this film. It's a scene that is very important to all of us involved in this film. And we know how important it is as well for all the audience and fans out there to get the chance to be able to say goodbye to Paul one last time. And this scene really allows us to sum up our feelings, emotions, and how we all feel about Paul with this final beach sequence. The characters are sitting around, talking amongst themselves, but ultimately, you know, watching Paul play with his family and how happy and joyous he is. And we knew from day one that we wanted to give Paul a happy farewell, that we sent him off in a very honorable way and one that would celebrate his life and that would celebrate his involvement in this particular franchise. And there was nothing more befitting than to actually use Paul Walker's own vehicle, his own personal car that he loved, to be in as we sent him off into the sunset at the very end of the film. In the final few shots, Vin and Paul are driving right next to each other, and then they're looking and smiling at one another. We flash away to all these different shots from this particular franchise, and we get to see how far Paul has come from the very first Fast and Furious movie all the way to Furious 7, and how much he has grown and how much us as the audience and fans have grown to love this man. And to be able to send Paul off into the sunset meant the whole world to me. And that's it. Thank you so much for coming with us on this ride, and we'll see you on the next one.